Real quick before we start, by the end of this video, you'll know why top AI leaders are secretly studying 800-year-old warriors. Sounds crazy, I know, but once you see the connection, you can't unsee it. What if your biggest AI advantage came from 800-year-old warriors? Here's something nobody's talking about in Silicon Valley. While everyone's obsessed with the latest AI models, prompt engineering courses, and machine learning certifications, there's a hidden framework that could give you an unfair advantage. And it has nothing to do with technology. It comes from the warriors of feudal Japan. The samurai weren't just sword fighters. They were strategic minds who operated under extreme pressure, made life or death decisions with incomplete data, and built systems of mental excellence that lasted centuries. Sound familiar? That's exactly what leading in the age of AI demands from you right now. Think about your current reality. You're drowning in data. AI tools are multiplying faster than you can learn them. Your team's anxious about automation. Competitors are moving at breakneck speed. And somewhere in all that chaos, you're supposed to lead with clarity and confidence. How? Here's where it gets interesting. The samurai developed something called Mushin, the mind without mind. It's a state of complete mental clarity where you can see the battlefield without emotional distortion. No panic, no overthinking, just pure, strategic awareness. Imagine having that mindset when navigating AI implementation decisions. The beauty of samurai philosophy is that it was designed for uncertainty. These warriors lived in an era where battles, politics, and alliances shifted constantly. They couldn't predict the future any more than you can predict what AI will look like in 2 years. But they built mental frameworks that worked regardless of external chaos. One of the core principles was Heihō, maintaining an even mind in all circumstances. When GPT-5 drops and changes everything overnight, do you panic or do you adapt? When a competitor launches an AI feature that makes yours look outdated, do you lose sleep or do you strategize? The difference between mediocre leaders and exceptional ones isn't intelligence, it's mental discipline. And here's the brutal truth most won't tell you: AI is getting better at logic, but it's terrible at wisdom. It can process patterns, but can't understand human context the way you can. It can generate solutions, but can't determine which solution serves humanity best. That's your job. That's where your irreplaceable value lives. The samurai understood that mastery wasn't about having the sharpest sword. It was about having the sharpest mind. Your sword today is AI, but if your mind isn't trained, disciplined, and strategic, all the technology in the world won't save you from mediocrity. So here's what we're uncovering together: the exact mental frameworks that made samurai legendary, translated into practical strategies for AI leadership. Not theory, not fluff. Real, applicable wisdom. And what comes next will completely shift how you think about decision-making in this AI-driven world. Drop Mushin in the comments if you're ready to develop unshakable mental clarity, and hit that like button so more leaders can discover this ancient advantage. Why the samurai one-cut philosophy makes you unstoppable in AI. Let me tell you about a concept that changed warfare forever and will change how you lead in AI. It's called Ichi-go Ichi-e, one meeting, one opportunity. The samurai lived by this principle. Every moment was unique, unrepeatable, and demanded total presence. In sword combat, this meant something profound. A samurai didn't get multiple chances to strike. One opening, one perfect cut. That was it. Miss that moment, and you're dead. But nail it. Victory. This created a level of focus and preparation that most modern leaders have completely lost. Now let's bring this into your world. How many meetings do you sit through half present, checking Slack, thinking about the next thing? How many strategic decisions do you make while distracted? The samurai would consider that professional suicide. And in the age of AI, it basically is. Here's why this matters more than ever. AI opportunities have incredibly small windows. A new tool emerges, a use case appears, a competitive advantage opens up. You have maybe weeks, sometimes days, to recognize it and act. Miss it, and someone else captures that territory, just like that opening in combat. But here's the part that separates amateurs from masters. The one-cut philosophy wasn't about rushing. It was about preparation, meeting opportunity. Samurai spent years training so that when the moment came, their response was instinctive, precise, and devastating. They called it decisive action from a place of absolute readiness. You need the same approach with AI. You can't just react to every new tool that drops. That's chaos, not strategy. But you also can't be paralyzed by overthinking. The solution? Build your systems now. Train your instincts. Develop your pattern recognition, so when the right opportunity appears, you move with confidence. There's a legendary story about Sasaki Kojiro, a master swordsman famous for his swallow cut technique. He spent decades perfecting one movement to strike so fast and precise it mimicked a swallow's flight. One technique, perfected to absolute mastery. That's all he needed to become legendary. What's your swallow cut in AI? What's the one capability you could develop to absolute mastery that would make you invaluable? Maybe it's AI-driven customer insights. Maybe it's automating complex workflows. Maybe it's ethical AI implementation. Pick one. Go deep. Become undeniable. The samurai also practiced something called zanshin, sustained awareness, even after action. You strike, but you don't relax. You remain alert because the battle might not be over. In AI terms, you implement a solution, but you monitor, iterate, and improve continuously. No victories are final in a rapidly evolving landscape. This combination, total presence, decisive action, and sustained awareness, is what made samurai warriors virtually unstoppable. And it's exactly what will make you unstoppable as an AI leader. Next up, I'm going to reveal the samurai team building secret that Fortune 500 companies are starting to rediscover. Comment, one cut, if this resonates. Subscribe to this channel if you want more of this deep dive approach to high performance. How the samurai loyalty code builds unbreakable AI teams. Here's the uncomfortable question nobody wants to ask. Is your team actually ready for AI? Or are they just pretending while secretly terrified? Because here's what I've observed working with dozens of organizations. Most teams are paralyzed by fear disguised as skepticism. The samurai faced this exact problem. How do you build a unit of warriors who trust each other completely when every battle could be their last? They solved it through Giri-Ninjō, the balance between duty and human compassion. And this ancient solution is exactly what your AI teams need right now. Let's break this down. Giri represents obligation, duty, and commitment to the group. Ninja represents personal feelings, empathy, and human connection. Most modern leaders swing too far in one direction. Either they're cold, results-obsessed robots, or they're so focused on feelings that nothing gets done. The samurai understood you need both. When you're implementing AI in your organization, people are scared. That's reality. They're reading headlines about job displacement. They're seeing automation replace roles they thought were safe. They're wondering if they'll be obsolete in 5 years. Ignoring that fear is leadership malpractice. The samurai daimyo addressed fear head-on. Before battles, they gathered their warriors and spoke with brutal honesty about the dangers ahead. But they also reinforced the bonds of loyalty, reminded everyone why they fought, and made it clear that they were in it together. Transparency plus solidarity equals trust. Do the same with your team. Have real conversations about AI. Which jobs will change? What new skills are needed? How will you support people through the transition? When you treat adults like adults, respect increases. When you sugarcoat reality, trust erodes. But here's where it gets powerful. The samurai had a practice called shinrai and trust through repeated demonstration. You couldn't just declare loyalty. You proved it through actions over time. Every kept promise, every difficult moment handled with integrity, every personal sacrifice for the group. These built unbreakable bonds. Apply this to AI implementation. Don't just announce a new tool and expect adoption. Involve your team in the selection process. Train them thoroughly. Support them through struggles. Celebrate their wins. Show them repeatedly that this change is happening with them, to them. There's a concept in samurai culture called harmony within the group. But it wasn't fake harmony where everyone agrees superficially. It was deep alignment around core values and mission, even when tactics differ. You need this with AI initiatives. Get your team aligned on the why before you argue about the how. Why are we adopting AI? To serve customers better? To eliminate boring work? To stay competitive? To create new opportunities? When everyone shares that core purpose, technical disagreements become productive instead of destructive. The samurai knew something most modern leaders forget. Elite performance comes from elite cohesion. A group of individually talented people who don't trust each other will lose to a cohesive team of average performers every single time. Build the bonds first. The results follow. And there's one final samurai principle that ties everything together. The concept of continuous evolution in an ever-changing world. Type Giri if you're committed to building trust-based teams. Smash that like button and share this with a leader who needs to hear this message. What happens when you combine samurai adaptability with AI power? Let's talk about the principle that kept samurai culture alive for over 700 years while empires around them crumbled. It's called Heihō, the way of strategy and adaptation, and it's the missing piece in most AI leadership approaches today. The samurai didn't just train for the battles they knew. They trained for the battles they couldn't imagine yet. They studied enemy tactics obsessively. They adapted techniques from China, Korea, and eventually even from European firearms. They evolved or they died. Simple as that. Fast forward to today. AI is evolving faster than any technology in human history. What worked 6 months ago is already outdated. The tools you're using now will be obsolete next year. If you're not evolving at the same pace, you're already falling behind. That's not motivation talk. That's mathematical reality. But here's where most people get it wrong. They try to learn everything about AI all at once and end up overwhelmed and paralyzed. The samurai would call that tactical stupidity. Instead, they practiced keiko, deliberate, focused training in specific skills until mastery, then moving to the next skill. Here's your practical framework. Pick one AI capability each month. Maybe January is prompt engineering mastery. February is understanding AI ethics and bias. March is workflow automation. Go deep, not wide. 15 minutes daily beats 3-hour weekend binges every time. The samurai also believed in shugyo, austere training that pushed beyond comfort zones. They didn't just practice when they felt like it. They trained in rain, snow, exhaustion, and pain. Because they knew battles don't wait for perfect conditions. Neither does the AI revolution. So when you don't feel like learning that new tool, do it anyway. When you're tired of keeping up with AI news, push through anyway. When experimenting feels risky, that's exactly when you should experiment. Comfort is the enemy of adaptation. Now here's the ultimate insight that brings everything together. The samurai didn't fear change. They didn't resist new weapons or tactics. They studied them, integrated what worked, and discarded what didn't. They were ruthlessly pragmatic while staying rooted in their core principles. You need that same mindset with AI. Don't be a purist who rejects automation because it feels wrong. Don't be a blind adopter who implements every shiny tool. Be strategic. Test. Measure. Keep what serves your mission. Discard what doesn't. There's a famous saying from Miyamoto Musashi, "Today is victory over yourself of yesterday. Tomorrow is your victory over lesser men." That's the essence of samurai thinking applied to AI leadership. You're not competing with others. You're competing with your past self. Are you better today than yesterday? That's the only metric that matters. When you combine the mental discipline of the samurai with the computational power of AI, you create something extraordinary. You become someone who can think clearly in chaos, act decisively under pressure, build loyal teams, and adapt continuously. That combination is rare. That combination is valuable. That combination is unstoppable. The ancient warriors forged their philosophy in literal fire and steel. You're forging yours in the fire of technological disruption. Different context, same principles, timeless wisdom. If you made it to the end, you've got samurai level focus. Comment hi and share this video with someone who needs this perspective. Let's build a community of modern warriors together.